Well, welcome everybody. This is Reverend Jody Susan with Susan Essentials. We are not starting soon, we are starting now. There you go. And today we are going to talk about how to access source energy. And I will be joined hopefully momentarily with my one of my business partners, Rajai Kaldani. Um, and we are going to walk you through what this looks like. So here we go. So we're just going to wait for him to come on stage. Give me 1 minute. There we go. So I'm not sure where he's at. Oh, there he is. Hi, handsome. Oh, I don't hear you. Oh, you're muted.
There you go. How are you?
I am wonderful. So you're on
Yeah.
your patio, I'm on mine.
Yes. Hopefully it doesn't rain. It's a little, what do you call it? Cloudy out there.
Overcast. Overcast.
Like a couple sprinkles here and there, but
That's just the angels saying that they're there and they're, really excited to, join in on the party. So,
absolutely.
okay. So, um, we have an agenda, right? And I'm just going to share the agenda with everybody. So, part one is to learn how to ground, center, and feel the love of the divine in your heart. Part two is to use your body as a pendulum, and there's like different ways we can do that. uh, part three is where do you use this to access the divine, and how do you use this and for your highest good, right? And one of the things that it came to me as I was, hopping in the shower, because I got up this morning, ran to go get my passport, and like I haven't even taken a shower yet. So at least, but y'all can't see or sense if I smell. So there you go. Was that I reflected back into 2013, so 10 years ago, where grounding was really not an option for me. And if somebody suggested that I meditated, I fell asleep and snored.
In there.
Yeah. Right. So, what I want to do first is share a couple things that I've used, and I'd like to have you share a few things that you've used to ground. Can you? I'll talk about the oils first, and then do you want to talk about patches, and then we'll go into how to, that's just using your aids, but then we'll teach people how to ground.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I like using essential oils. This is a new brand I'm using. It's called Lotus Garden Botanicals. Um, and this one is balance. And this has a variety of things like, they have tree oils in here, like Douglas fir, lavender, which we all know is very calming, spearmint, which is opening up those airways. And if you can open up those airways, you're going to get the oxygen to the brain, which means you can calm the brain, okay, and ground. And actually, this is so good. I don't think I feel like I want to share the other ones, but I will. um, the other ones, okay, just straight lavender you can use. Eucalyptus if you're grounded, but like you're like having troubles getting oxygen because you're congested. So I spent almost all my entire life being congested. So eucalyptus will clear that up quickly for you. So that's Lotus Garden Botanicals. And then and they also have frankincense, but if you're using doTERRA, Forgive has a lot of pine oils in it, so that'll ground you. Trees are going to ground you, sage, things like that. Of course, they're frankincense and breathe again, opening up those airways, and peace essential oil. And then I also have frankincense in a roller bottle. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to take the oil. You have your oils, put it in the palm of your hand, rub your palms together, and breathe in deep. Whew, that stuff is strong. This is my new oils, everybody. Don't need that much.
That's funny.
They need
Yeah,
that
they're
little
potent.
bitty
Those
drop.
oils are potent.
Yeah, yeah. Well, doTERRA oils are potent. This
Mhm.
is potent on steroids.
Right, right. Yeah.
So, and they're actually less expensive. They're not an MLM. So that's kind of fun for me. All right. You want to share about some of the patches? I'll be your Vanna White that you
Yeah.
use to ground.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, maybe let's talk about some natural ways of grounding. Even though
Hmm.
most people don't do it, but really the best way is spending, take the shoes off, take the socks off, walk in nature. There you go. You know,
Woo!
that is a great way to ground. But it's not always feasible. It's not always, you got to take time for that. And sometimes in the winter, um, that's going to be really difficult. If you live in a place like I do in Illinois, where it can get real cold. Um, but we have some really cool tools that we can use to help ground. I use a frequency mat that really actually does kind of ground you, which is fantastic, and that's a good way to kind of ground on like supercharged grounding. And then we have these new patches. I have a patch on. You can't see it, but those are really, really cool patches. So they're Jody's got a patch on there.
And
So
I can't show you the other one.
we're doing a split tease now.
Well, yeah, so I'm gonna do actually a little blurb after we're done for Pact, which is a clothing company that's all completely organic, and I bought their underwear.
Nice.
So I'm gonna show you my underwear, but I'll take it out of the bag, just like that.
So speaking of clothing, even like I've heard that like linen has a very high vibration as
Mm,
well, like instead of like cotton or some of the other fabrics people are using, and that's
yeah,
a good way to kind of ground, but just to have that on your skin. But these patches are really cool. I've been using them for about 2 months now, and um, it's a unique technology. And what I love about it is it has no ingredients in it. But
yeah.
what it is, it's a code, it's a pattern, it's like a braille, that's on the patch. So when you put the patch on your skin's got receptors. They're called PZO1 and PZO2, and they're talking to your brain all the time. So that's how you could feel things, you could touch things, you could, you know, heat, touch, cold, whatever it
This
is.
looks like a thumbprint almost, doesn't it, hon?
It is a thumbprint. So that's not the actual code. That's just to kind of disguise the code and to kind of just give it something to
Mm.
there, like, but it's not the actual code. Um, Now, what it does is these receptors on your skin are talking to your brain all the time. And so when you put it on your skin, it sends that pattern or that code to your brain, and then your brain decodes it. Now, we're talking about grounding and balance, and there is a patch for grounding and balance, and that is kind of the that's like the flagship patch that I pretty much when I do a demo, I give people that patch because it works instantaneously. I could do a before and after in 1 second and improve someone's balance. But I've had a lot of people
Which
tell me this is
balance is that? Is that Liberty?
liberty. Yeah,
Okay.
and they feel most people feel super grounded. Their strength improves, and they feel like they're being pulled down to the ground. They become very, very stable. Um, but that's a great tool. Um, And yeah, grounding is important because it's like your base, right? It gets you kind of centered and just in that place where you can kind of then kind of pivot from there. So grounding is really, really important. It's probably something you should do every day.
Yeah, so I meditate before I get out of bed, like before even my feet even hit the floor. Um, I bring in the divine, bring in Jesus Christ for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I just want to say this, and I'll probably repeat it throughout the show. I access Jesus Christ, and I don't want to exclude anybody. So access who you want to access, the divine source, God. Um, I used to, just go with source, but I really feel like I need to access Jesus. He keeps me protected in a way that for me that's unrecognizable. So, but I don't want to exclude anybody, but I also have to honor me. So, with
100%.
that,
Yeah, it's about what you kind of resonate with and what really you tune into, right? And I think different people tune into different things, but yeah, very powerful energy there for sure.
and I want to say one other thing for grounding. So Hue simple chocolate, and I know that there's other brands and everything, but dark chocolate is
Mm,
very grounding.
yeah.
Um, Comes from a tree. So, and this has, not very much sugar in it, so and no dairy. So anyway, the or maybe it has some dairy. I'm not sure. But anyways, it's very grounding, that and watermelon. And then I'm just going to say, as we're going through this today, keep yourself hydrated
Yep.
like that. Okay.
So Jody, real quick, I know you've had a long journey, but tell us a little bit about like your day, about how you go about your life in terms of like protocol, because you really try to tune in to, and access source and pretty much everything that you do, right?
Everything. I
And
don't
that's a
without them, even what I eat.
yeah, and that's an amazing habit to get into. I think not enough people are doing that. At the very least, it kind of makes you a little bit more conscientious of what you're doing. At the very very least, right?
Well,
Even
yeah,
just
because they tell us that 95% of what we do is unconscious.
yes,
So I'd like to move the pendulum.
correct.
So what do I do? When I get up in the morning, you guys are just going to laugh at me. Okay. So we have choices. We have choices about what we wear. We have choices about, I have multiple toothpastes that I use because it's important to rotate my food, and supplements that I take. And so each day, um, after I access source energy. So I get up in the morning. I haven't like had my feet hit the ground. I'm bringing in source energy. I'm clearing any frequencies that are or energies that are in my body that are not for highest good. I transmute those up to source and I replace with God's divine white light. I ask for guidance, and I ask for protection for, the world, and specifically though also for all my friends and family, and to keep them guided and protected. So once I get up, I'm brushing my teeth, but I mean, like I'm picking out, my patches, I'm picking out my toothpaste, and I'm asking which one is for highest good, right? Then I go downstairs and I have my supplements, and I take my supplements and I muscle test it. Is this one for highest good? And at the beginning, it's going to take a while before you go through all your supplements, but now it's pretty quick because when you are accessing source energy for every little last thing, including what I'm wearing, don't laugh, but like, okay, is this what you want me to wear? Is this what you want me to wear? I've completely surrendered to his will. Completely. And why am I asking what to wear? Because color is a vibration.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, right, what earrings do you want me to wear? Well, these are amethyst. Okay. So he wants me to wear amethyst because it's healing. I mean, so um, everything's a vibration. And I listen to Jesus and source energy to guide me to bring the greatest vibration to my life and to the lives that I serve. Does that answer that?
Yeah, no, that's really good. So I have some further questions. So when you ask, are you hearing something, or is it a feeling that you get, a thought? Like how are you receiving that information?
So there's all of it. So
Mm,
one, and we're going to talk about that. There is definitely a feeling, like a feeling of love, heart centered love. And that's how I make the distinction about who I'm speaking to, because it can get really scary. And this happened to me in 2019. Like, I didn't know who I was listening to.
mm,
So I cut it off. until I figured out, how do I know who I'm listening to? Right? And how you know who you're listening to is by feeling the love, undeniable love in your heart. And if I don't feel it and I'm feeling like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm like, I ask spirit, I ask God, I'm like, I want to feel love like you mean it. That's what I do. Like, show
Right.
me, help me feel love like you mean it, because I ain't gonna take the word of the other side. So,
Right. You don't want to second guess it. You want a
uh-uh.
sure yes, no. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, look, we've all had that kind of I know I've had it where, you get that kind of gut feeling, that uncomfortable kind of um just gut feeling of not to do something or not to
Yeah,
go
it's off.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. And we oftentimes we dismiss it, especially men. I think men tend to do that more than women.
Mhm.
But I've learned by kind of experience and really just making the wrong decisions, um, that when you there's a different feeling for a different answer. So when you get that kind of that, like you've been punched in the gut, that's a big no, right?
Mhm. Like,
But
if your gut's churning and it doesn't feel like a good,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, this is really weird. So when I was, this is 2017, I'm with my girlfriend Lee. We get tickets for a concert in Wisconsin on my birthday, and we're in Wisconsin. I don't know Wisconsin at all. We're going to some sort of the amphitheater, and she goes, "Oh, let's cut down that aisle,
right,
that alley, not an aisle, an alley."
yeah,
And I said, "No."
yeah,
The spirit came in, boom, no.
yeah,
Yeah. So listen to these signals,
yeah,
because that's spirit, that's your guide saying, probably not probably, cancel, not a good idea.
yeah. Usually it's clear, it's concise, it's strong, and it's a hard no. Um, when that happens,
For sure.
yeah.
So, and what about you? What does your morning look like? What is your?
Yeah, it's very similar. I get up, I kind of clear. First thing I do, actually, after I grab my coffee, is I do a little meditation. I get on my frequency mat. I have a bioresonance frequency mat, and I knock out my first three sessions. So I pretty much do them all at one time. But really, that gets me going, right? And then I just really I try to kind of, for me, not do too much in the morning. Kind of let that be like my time. First 2 hours of waking up,
Unless I'm calling you.
unless you're calling, right? But like I definitely try not to schedule too much going on there. I just kind of like to relax, and because usually all my days are busy and it's go go go, and I kind of just need that maybe 2 hours in the morning to kind of just all right, this is my time. So
Well, so that's a really good practice. And I don't get, with the exception of my podcast, which I didn't have a choice in the matter.
mm,
Um, I don't schedule anything in the morning before 10 a.m., sometimes 11, because that's my time I can actually, if I get up early in the morning, it's my time to meditate, process what needs to be processed. And I actually can jam out all my administrative stuff for the day by 11 and
right.
serve clients without anything in the back of my mind.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're dialed in and you're focused, because you are centered and you've grounded and you're not all over the place, you can get stuff done, right?
Absolutely. So, so why don't we teach people how to ground?
Sure.
Unless there's anything else you want to add to that.
Well, so before we do that, let's
Yes.
let's also say, everyone's going to have their own kind of unique thing, right? That they
Mm-hmm.
can do, um, but really just listen to your body, because we are quantum beings. We're beings that are connected to everything, and we're receiving and emitting information all the time. So pay attention to that. It's a subtle thing, but if you listen, you'll get messages. And so Even with like the muscle testing, like we're going to talk about the sway test. It does make it easier, but it's really about getting in the process and getting into the habit of like tuning in, because it's always kind of a subtle thing when it comes to a muscle test. It's not like a brute force, that kind of thing.
Yeah, actually, I want to really make something really abundantly clear about that. The more you practice, oh, what scarf should I wear? What shirt should I wear? What earring should I wear? What coffee should I have today? Because I have different types of coffee, dandelion, some have different mushrooms and whatever. What am I putting into my smoothie? Right? The more you do that, you're creating this path to source.
Yeah.
And then that path, it's like it's almost like when you're courted to somebody, like you and I are courted,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Because we're like siblings, we're very close friends, we're more like brother and sister,
Right.
and we have a cord. So like the other day, I sent you a message that I needed something, and it was in my inbox like 10 minutes later,
Right. Yeah.
right?
It's funny how
So
that
we
works.
have this pathway, this telecommunication pathway to each other, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you, you can create that same pathway to God or to Jesus or source, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And so when that pathway becomes so pronounced, it's on instant case. Boom. Okay. You had a bird flying in the background.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, it's a big bird.
You're right.
so so the gift that you get back by making this a practice, not a once in a while event, is a direct pathway to God, so that you're not just talking to him or her, but you're hearing back the answers.
Yeah.
And I think one of the misnomers or the myths, whatever you want to call it, is that people think, oh, we have a Facebook user. Hello, thank you for being here. Um, so if you're in the group, they don't actually display your name, just so you know. We're in my private group. And what was I saying?
Well, about really having that connection, and to the
Oh,
point to
you're
where
divine
you're
right
hearing
to hear.
back, you're hearing
Yeah.
back, you're receiving the messages.
Yeah, people think that, oh, I can pray, but and they don't say and wait for the answer.
Right.
It's your divine right to hear.
Yeah. And source will speak to you, right? It's speaking to you all the time. We're just often not tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is it that had you shift? Because I know that before we go into the training, what is it that had you shift from like corporate America to where you're at now? You know,
Well,
a frequency expert.
well, many years ago, I was just kind of a regular dude, just doing, kind of doing my thing in terms of work and life, but I wasn't really, I wasn't moving into my destiny, my purpose, or my passion. I was kind of more or less a zombie, were kind of running through the motions. So I had all kinds of problems. My stress levels were like through the roof. I was burnt out, stressed out, um, started to have all kinds of issues, chronic fatigue, foggy brain, blah, blah, blah. Um, I developed a lump under my armpit. I really did not feel good, and kind of was depressed, and actually got to a point where I was suicidal. And one evening, I was planning on pretty much taking myself out. And clear as day, as I was driving home with that intention, a voice came in, a real clear, loud voice told me to go to this place that I knew about. And I really pushed back. I was like, I am done. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just ready to get the hell out of here. But it came back two more times, and I finally relented. I humbled myself. I listened. I said, okay, fine. I rerouted. I showed up to this little gift shop, and they had a frequency device that they had there. They were doing a presentation on this frequency device. So first and last time they were there, but I tried that device before I left. And I left. I felt nothing while I was on it, but I left and I was driving home still with the same intention. But by the time I got home, I was dozing off at the wheel. So I couldn't really do anything. I just had to go straight to bed. But I woke up 4 hours later. I felt totally different, refreshed, rejuvenated. And that kind of got me on my way. But that was a turning point. That was a profound experience. Now, I've had similar experiences, but that one kind of really anchored that into my being, that you just need to listen. The information is there. Something is transmitting information to you. You're just not listening. But because of the dire kind of consequences that were there, it had to be real loud, real kind of in your face to just get my attention, and it did. But that kind of um, opened me up quite a bit, and it's been a journey, but it put me on a path to where now I trust that more and more and more, and I don't question it, and I don't push it off. When I do get it, I just go with it.
Yeah, and I think of these defining moments, and thank you for sharing. These are defining moments in our lives. And for me, when I really started to hear, I remember the first the 3 times I really started to hear, I was near dead, laying on my couch, and I got a message from the divine. It was clear as day what to do. Um, to go see this one doctor. He was a neurologist. I'm like, well, why am I supposed to see a neurologist? They say I have a mental health issue. And I don't even know what a flipping neurologist is at that point.
Right.
I don't
Right.
even know what neurology is, right? I don't know anything, right?
Sure.
So there was that. And then in April, that was 2014.
Mm.
And don't get me wrong, I had other interventions between them. But then in April of 2016, I'm in grad school. I'm still reclaiming my health. And I wake up, around 3 o'clock in the morning. Of course, that's spiritual awakening. And they said to me, now I'm on disability. You're going to have to move. I'm like, what do you mean I have to move? I don't have any money. You're going to
Right.
have to move. I'm
Yeah.
like, not an option, but thank you. Right. And so then they said, look up your address. Now, they didn't, I hear it as an idea. Okay. Because
Yeah.
that answers your question from earlier. How do I hear this? It comes as an idea in my own head. And they insert that information. So I look up my address, 322 North Brockway Street, Palatine, Illinois. It's going on the auction block the next day.
Wow. Are you serious? Holy smokes.
Serious. So it was a Sunday night. It was going on the auction block the next day.
322. That's an interesting number too. That's a skull and bones number, actually. That's skull and bones. 322.
Is it really?
Mm,
What?
that's their number. You should look into that. Yeah.
Okay.
You know about skull and bones, right?
No, nothing. Tell
Uh,
me. Okay, so now we're just
oh,
uh
we're like, yeah, we're
Reader's Digest. You can tell me afterwards, and then after the show.
well,
Okay, so unless does it pertain?
I mean, so Skull and Bones it's a secret society out of I think Yale, right? But they're very powerful. It's a secret society that the most influential and powerful people in the world are tend to be members. Um, like for instance, when we had the Bush and Kerry election, I don't know if you remember, they were both Skull and Bone members.
Who?
Bush and Kerry, remember when
Oh,
they were
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So both presidential candidates were Skull and Bone members, and so these are the people. Well, not them particularly, but the the other side that wants to control and manipulate the world. They don't want us to have access to that source energy, and so they're trying to manipulate that and trying to kind of pull that out of you, and that's why they try to distract you with so many things to kind of you know capture your attention but not really get in touch with who you are and ground and really come into your own being and that you are a spirit being having a human experience.
Well, I'm going to tell you something else. So the person who bought the building, that I was living in,
Yeah.
was part of the Irish mafia.
Oh wow, okay.
All right, so I think just gonna move on, because I think this could go down a rabbit hole, and I'm pretty clear on that. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
okay, so let's do. I'm gonna go to here, part one: ground center and feel the love of the divine in your heart. So, um, so find a place where you're comfortable. Close your eyes. Um, and breathe in through your nose to get oxygen right to the brain. So if you have oils, use them. I'm actually going to use my Breathe essential oil because I'm a little congested. And then, oh, that feels good. And then feel your feet. If you have shoes on, take them off if you can. And connect your feet to the earth, the core of the earth. Wow, that feels good. And have the earth come up through your legs, into your gut, and into your heart. And really feel that groundedness in your heart. And bring the earth's frequency into your shoulders, the back of your neck. Wow, that feels good. And now we're going to bring in source, where you're going to open up your crown chakra. If you don't know how, just say, please open up my crown chakra. And you're going to bring in the Christ white light and let it go through your entire chakra system and meet earth. Wow, that feels amazing. And now you should feel the remember when you really felt like love for your mom or someone really close to your dad, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. Remember that love? I want you to feel the love of source of Jesus in your heart. That's what you always want to have when you're asking for the guidance, for divine guidance. Wow, that feels good. Do you feel? I know you feel that, Raj. I can feel you.
Yeah, it feels good.
It was amazing.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to move over here. I think it's starting to rain. Give me a second.
You're gonna have to move over where?
It's starting to rain over here.
Oh, just ask it to go away. All right.
Yeah, hang on.
Infinite incorruptible source. Have the rain move. So that is just basic grounding and having the love of the divine in your heart. So that is part one. Okay. Now, uh, for part two. All right. There we go. And now we're going to go to part two, using your body as a pendulum to find out what's your yes and what's your no. And I want to just say that, and I'm going to get rid of my oils because otherwise they're going to go all over the place when I move this table. And bear with us because I'm not used to doing it. Like, you might get a shot of me that it's not exactly the best shot.
Now I would say so there's lots of ways to muscle test, but this is the easiest way to muscle test.
Yeah, and we're
Um,
going to show more than one way. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But also I think what people should do if they want to learn is find one or two that you really like, and then you practice that over and over and over again. So you maybe you do it 30, 40, 100 times a day, however many times, but definitely that repetition, because it's really more about a feeling, um, in many ways than a you know like a I mean, there is a shift in the muscle for sure, but it's subtle. It's not like super dramatic. So you
Yeah,
got to.
although Andrew at this point after years, he gets very dramatic. I mean, he gets sometimes when spirit's trying to give him a message, his yes is back, and his forward is no. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
And woo, he doesn't even get the question out and they're already answering it.
yeah.
Right. So it will happen that way, peeps. So let me just move this back a little bit. And I'm going to stand up. So, okay, we'll keep the stomach in. Let me just see if we can do this. There we go. So,
So now placement of the feet. So are you doing like what, shoulder width apart, essentially?
I do.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
I
So
want to have balance,
right.
right?
Yep.
And so, some people have said you should face north, to have that be a standard. I did do that for a long time. You may want to start that yourself, okay? You don't have to after a while, but I've been doing this for like years. So after a while, it doesn't make a difference which way you face because spirit's got your back. Okay,
Right.
so we'll stand up. And the first part you're going to do is you're going to find the answer to what your yes is and what your no is. So I'm going to do something easy. Okay, like I'm a female or I'm a male. Okay, all right. So infinite. So the already answered. Okay, so infinite crystal. So I'm making sure I have God in my heart, source, Christ, energy. Okay, am I a female? So my yes is back, right? Am I a male? I get pushed forward. So my higher self and spirit is guiding this. Want to have me ask another question that you know the answer to.
Well, I like to start with very like, my name is
My
Jody,
name is Jody.
right?
My name
My
is
name.
Jody. Like now you got it.
Well, that's your baseline, right? So like, there's no question about it, right?
No
My
question.
Right. So my name is Michael. So you want to determine what your yes and your no is,
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter whether for you it's forwards or backwards, but you just want to know what your baseline is, and then
correct.
go off that.
Right. Even though my yes is back and my forward is no, yours will likely be different.
Yeah,
Could
mine
be.
is different.
What is yours? You want to demonstrate yours?
Yeah, mine's the opposite actually. So
Yeah.
I lean forward for my yes.
Okay.
So
We can't see your face, honey. Back up.
it's raining over here.
That's okay. You can get wet.
All right. So I just kind of loosen up, kind
Mhm.
of have my feet shoulder width apart. Now your body is shifting all the time. It's
Right.
never 100% stable. So you're kind of shifting all the time. But so when I ask, is my name Rajai? Right? I get a yes. So I
Mhm.
get a slight lean forward.
Mhm.
It's going to be real subtle, right?
Mhm.
Uh, is my name John? And that's kind of more of a it's a lean back. I kind of lean back on my heel, and so you just want to get used to that, right? So mine is always, um, it used to be the opposite, but I rewired it to where it was my yes is forward, my back is no. But I test it every time before you start asking additional questions. So I think it's a good habit to get into of actually checking your baseline every time. Because
Yeah, you absolutely have to check your baseline every time.
yeah,
And if you're if you don't have, I just want to, I've said this maybe 1,000 times. If you don't have the frequency of love in your heart, then you need to go back to the grounding, okay, and do that, and
yeah,
make sure you have frequency of love.
yeah, and just clear ground, clear. Ask for divine guidance. You have spirit guides that are talking to you, your higher self. You have, I mean, you really are connected. We're all connected. Um, I remember my first experience with this muscle testing thing. It blew me away, but I wasn't expecting it. Right? It was, and that's kind of what got me open to it a long, long time ago. Maybe I'll tell the story, but
Please.
well, let me before I do that, so the sway test is what you just saw, kind of a slight lean, or so
Mhm.
for some people it could be a dramatic. For me, it's usually a very slight lean, unless it's like a real, you know, hey, we need to send you a message. But usually it's a slight lean, either forwards or backwards. But so you just
Same
got to,
here. I mean, I could be in a conversation with someone, and I'm standing and they're lying, so my body goes forward because I'm like, that's not true information, or they're saying something that really resonates and it's really true, and God's like, yeah, listen up. And my body starts to sway backwards.
yeah, it's like a lie detection detector
Mhm.
that you have built in.
Yeah,
Um, so
built-in bullshit detector.
right. Like for me, it's also some like I've always had this thing where I would start to tingle everywhere. I would have this like tingling sensation when I heard something that was true, right? Especially something really profound and true, right? Something I needed to hear, right? Or something that maybe was a message that was being sent. And so that has always kind of been my built-in lie detector, so to speak. But a lot of people have that or something similar, but it's going to be slightly different for everyone else. But so going back to the story, so what happened to me, this was when I mean, 20 something years ago, maybe 24, 25 years ago. I was in a car accident. So I had neck pain, back pain, whatever. And I found a chiropractor, yeah, that I just kind of walked into. So I
Mhm.
didn't even make an appointment, walked in. I think I found him online, and I said, okay, this guy looks like he's pretty reasonable price wise, and let me just go get get an adjustment. So I did. Well, he was a Chinese medically trained Chinese medicine doctor, also that was doing chiropractic. And so he asked me while I was there, he goes, hey, would you like to do an allergy test? And I said, sure, why not? Right. And I was like, okay, well, let's do it. Why not? So he had me um, sit on his table, right? So shoulders kind of straight, and he asked me to put up my arm, right? And then he would just test my muscle strength. And then what he had is he had these like beakers of different things, and that
Like
in each
vials,
beaker
right?
he had these little vials, and and they were grouped in categories. So he had one for like meats, he had one for like dairy products, had one for all kinds of different things that potentially people could be allergic to.
Yeah, I thought
So
I had some here for you. Oh, here they are. Yeah, like
yeah, they're like there was tiny little vials, yeah, just like that, right? So he had
Mhm,
these solutions in them. He had a name on them, right? So he knew what they were. But what he did is he had me stick out my hand, and
mhm,
he would take the beaker one by one, and he'd say, "Here, put this here," and then he would test, right?
right.
And there are times where okay, no problems, I could resist, not a problem. There are other times where it was just like my arm would just drop.
Mhm.
Well, he went through it, and then he pinpointed based on okay, this beaker he was weak with. So then he delved into what was in the beaker. So then he went one by one, what was for each vial. And I really thought it was kind of, I really, I wasn't buying it yet. I was actually almost like wanted to laugh and was like, what the hell is this guy doing? This is kind of crazy. Well, by the time he gets done, he goes, okay, so you're allergic to egg whites.
Uh-huh.
And, he named off a few things, egg whites and caffeine and alcohol and blah, 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 whatever, and sugar. But the main thing was egg whites. He was like, yeah, you're mainly allergic to egg whites. And that's what struck me. I was like, holy smokes. Because, um, I met the guy, but growing up, uh, I would break out in hives on my whole side of my body from eating egg whites. And we were able to pinpoint, yeah, what. Well, I wasn't. I was too young, but my mom was able to pinpoint what was causing that by just taking food in and out of my diet and
The
by
elimination diet.
elimination diet, right? And kind of, okay, yeah, you're allergic to egg whites. Well, this guy pinpointed that just right there, just with a simple muscle test from.
Right.
I didn't know this guy from Adam. I mean, he had no information on me. I just walked in. And so that really was like, that was a big, like, aha, like, holy,
Hmm.
I was shocked. But yeah, that was my first experience with muscle testing.
Yeah. So Dr. Danny out of Libertyville, he introduced me to muscle testing, and I thought he was crazy. Right? Oops.
Yeah, if you're new to it, it's not something that's really taught, right? It's not something. It seems so counterintuitive, even.
Right. But that's because we've been programmed to be disconnected. So now I want to share two other ways in which, and you choose the one that's best for you, like Raj said. And then another way, you can use two fingers, one on each hand, or two on each hand, whatever makes you comfortable. I usually use one, although I've caught myself using two. But look, um, my name is Frank Sinatra. My name is Jody Susan.
Right.
My name is Rajai Keldani. I'm a male. I'm a bullshit artist. I'm a divine child of God.
Yeah, I haven't used that one. I've used the two ring,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So
My friend uses it. Once you show that one, I've got one other after that. So I guess we have four. Go for it.
yeah. So my name is so when it's
Show
strong,
them because you can't see what you got there.
so essentially you're just taking your two fingers. It could be whatever fingers you want, but you're just connecting the two,
I'm going
right?
to make you larger. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Now we can see. So you're
Okay.
just doing this, right?
Right. And then you're just, so my name is Rajai, right?
Yeah, I
My
didn't get a yes.
Right. My name is Susie. My name is Rajai, right? And so that's
I'm
one way,
wearing red glasses, you know?
right?
Yeah.
So that's a popular method. I think a lot of people use that, but
I have a lot of friends that do this, a lot of doctors. Another
yeah,
one I have is this. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. Or some people will use it with just the one finger. They're just
Yeah.
test, right? Now they still require two hands. So the first one requires your whole body as a pendulum. This one requires two hands, and then there's one where you can just do it with.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And I think this is where a lot of people, this is one a lot of people do, because you could just kind of do it with one hand, and you could, maybe just as you're testing something, but essentially you're just pushing down, right?
Right.
And this one is very subtle, right? So you're looking just for a just the energetic shift in the finger. It's not going to
Hmm.
be super. It's not going to be super like hardcore, but that's one you can do all day long. You can do that hundreds of times a day to practice.
Yeah, you could do it while you're driving. You could do it while
Right.
you're having a conversation with somebody under the table and
Right.
you're trying to figure out if they're being honest. And, sorry for my friends, but, and I don't do this like with you, Raj. but like not, and they're not friends. I'm sorry, for acquaintances,
Right.
right? If I'm talking to somebody and I'm on the phone or I'm in a meeting on a Zoom meeting, you better believe this is going on,
Right.
right? Because so here's the thing. So I'm let's see, I'm wearing an orange tank top. I'm wearing a pink tank top. I can't move that. I'm wearing a blue tank top. Okay. Um, I'm wearing, and I can do both hands, by the way. I'm wearing black glasses. Not
Right.
true. Um, I live in Illinois. I live in Georgia, and I'm pushing as hard as I can.
Now,
And
do you have a favorite method? Is that your favorite method to do?
so I'm going to tell you that's a great question. The answer is no, I don't have a favorite method.
Yeah.
And here's why. Depending on how grounded I am, and I want you all to give yourself grace because some days it's going to be easier than others, and it's not personal to you. You don't know what's going on in the universe, and you don't know what's coming in, like what they're ramping up the 5G or any other type of radiation. It's going to impact you because you're a frequency being, right? So you want to use what's best for you at that point in time. And
Yeah.
sometimes I've called you, Raj. I said, Raj, what are you getting? Right? What
Right.
do you hear?
Yeah.
So get yourself a buddy, get yourself a spiritual buddy who you guys work together, right? And yeah, Raj and I, he's my brother from another mother, right?
Yeah.
So,
Now it's really important to have someone to kind of validate and bounce off and kind of uh, get confirmation from, right? Because
mhm.
it does help, right? Especially on the bigger questions, and we are, there's all kinds of energies out there, and some are not all that great. So some good and bad out there. So you kind of want to definitely align with someone who can help you kind of be a like a shining light for you, so to speak.
Yeah, or be a shining light for each other, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both ways.
I sense that there's going to be, I don't want to, I'm just going to say there'll be some opportunities to have a good buddy around. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I want to talk about ways. First of all, let me back up. Is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of using your body as a pendulum? Any other muscle testing ways? Or can we move on to all the different ways so to open people's minds on where you want to use this?
Well, and we can go into a few other ways, methods.
Okay.
You,
I'm
so,
open. Let's go. Yeah.
so there's number one. You can not only use this for yourself, you can use it for other people and other questions, right? Like that pertain to other things. You could even use it. You could use yourself as a surrogate for someone else, like a baby or something, right? So, like for instance, if you wanted to muscle test a baby that you really can't muscle test them with their own body, you can test for them.
So I'm going to actually pause us because I think that is part three. Where to use this to access the divine. Okay.
Okay. Okay. All
That
right. So
way we're going to do little sections. So
let's
go
get
ahead.
let's do one other one then. So there's one where you actually rub your finger
Oh, is
on.
this still muscle testing then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this another way to do it. So there's a yeah, and this is going to be very subtle. Some people really like it. Some people really don't. But maybe you can try it. So Jody, I don't know if you've used this before, but
Mm,
so you rub your finger, and so your yes could be either very smooth or kind of sticky, right?
okay.
So try it. So maybe do ask
My
yourself,
name is Jody. That's easy. My name is Franklin. Whoa.
yeah.
Wow.
Try that again. So that's an easy one that you can use. Some people don't like it because it's so like subtle that it's hard for them to pick it up. Well, okay, is that really sticky or is that smooth? But for you, it was pretty
Oh, yeah.
obvious.
It's obvious. So I live in Georgia. I live in Illinois. Yeah, it's hard to move. So here's what you want to know. Your body, you are a walking, breathing, living antenna,
100%.
right?
Yep.
So listen to your body. Start being very in tune to these signals.
Yeah, we are connected to everything that is. We're receiving and emitting information, and essentially, it's a web of energy that's interconnected to everything else. Um,
Yeah,
and that's what the science is actually starting to show. But it's really just about tuning into that field. So when you hear something that doesn't resonate, as like a lie, as an example, what happens is a lot of times people feel that, right?
hmm,
And that's why communication is really only a small percent of communication. Like 7% is not what's said, but how it's said. So you're picking up on information, you're picking up on body language, you're picking up on a feeling, on you're gathering information not just from your ears but from your whole being,
yeah.
right?
Speaking of which, I have to stop because it's been 4 or 5 times now. You've had an angel come in from behind you.
Ah, well,
Yeah, I've seen it.
they're my buddies.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's kind of cool. I'm like, they go, woof. I'm like, is that like something? No, it's an angel.
uh,
Yeah, you had your angels with you. So
so
that's
yeah,
fun.
we are connected to, we're just it's amazing what we're a part of, and we just want to get in tune with that. And muscle testing is a good way to kind of practice in a physical way to get you to attune a little bit better and connect a little bit better.
I love it. You know, and when you think about, and we're not going to go in too deep, but things that you all can research is research the mushroom network, right? The fungi, fantastic fungi. The mushrooms have their own internet underneath, like in the earth, which you taught me about years ago, and then I did a deeper dive. But the point is that we are the Internet of Things. When they
100%.
created computers and they created internet, it was based upon us.
Well, it's interesting. A lot of theories out there are actually comparing everything to like a simulation, like a software, a program, a computer.
Yeah,
Um, is it that crude? I don't know. Like if, but the analogy is I think apropos, because really we are just connected. It's all connected, just on a different level, and it's a biological computer versus a mechanical type of thing.
for sure, sure. Um, okay, so do we want to move on to part 3 now?
Yep.
Okay. Where to use this to access the divine, or how to use this to access the divine. So, clear.
Well, I think there's really no limitation as to how and where you can use it.
I agree. I'm showing you the first important part,
Mm,
right? So, this is the flow of life, your water supply. And so, if it's tainted, you want to muscle test your water. Let's say you can't get filtered water that day from your, because both Raj and I offer filtered water. And, and you're at a store. By the way, 11 of the brands of bottled water tested have 38 contaminants. Your tap usually has anywhere between 5 and 18. Just
yeah.
letting you know. So if you are in the store and you want to pick out a water, like bottled water, because you just don't have access to anything that's clean, or muscle test your water, your bottled water. Ask if it's for your highest good, yes or no, right? And
Right.
like infinite credible source, is this water here for my highest good? Is it toxic free? Yes. Does it have glyphosate in it? No, right? You know, and I use this not only when I am buying getting water, if I have to do that out, I I have to tell you something. I don't buy when I buy my fruits and vegetables, I muscle test it. I don't care if it says organic. Really don't care. Um I just got a really weird message. Okay, sorry. I thought I had this on do not disturb. Let me just make sure it is on do not disturb. No, it came off of do not disturb. So let me go back to do not disturb. Okay.
Yeah,
So
organic is
yeah,
quote unquote
organic.
organic
Good.
isn't as clean per se.
Mm-mm. So what happened was I went to go buy apples, and immediately when I touched the apple, I got pinged by spirit. So when you get pings or you get like a ping is, how would you describe a ping from spirit?
I would call it an alert, like
Mm-hmm.
from your phone. It's like, hey, pay attention
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or listen in real quick.
Right. So I'm at Whole Foods. I'm grabbing some apples for the house, and I get pinged, and I put my hand on the apple, and all of a sudden it's like a I don't know, like a ping. I don't know, like an alert in my head,
Yeah,
and they said it's not clean. It's not organic. And it's not even that's not organic. It's not toxic free. And not only was it not toxic free, it had like a waxy thing on it, which you don't usually get with organic.
right. Yeah,
So I started muscle testing it. And the same, I do it with my blueberries. I do it with my strawberries. I do it with my bananas, you know? And just because you're buying your kombucha and it's the one that you love, test it. Because, other companies are buying these products and putting them at a bigger company and they're changing the formula.
sure. Yeah, and not only that, but also is it nutritious, right? I mean, where is this food coming from, right? Some of
Mhm.
these things are coming from, you know, Guatemala or someplace very far away, and it's really just it's lost. Its vitality is gone, right? Is it for my highest good? Is it nutritious? Maybe this apple is going to be better than this apple, so
Mhm.
it help you make decisions about your food, your vitamins, what you take. So I have
Mhm.
a friend of mine who she muscle tests everything that she does in
Good
terms
for
of like ingesting what vitamins
How much?
and how much.
How much? So there are going to be days where I take one capsule, like I take Triese, which is a supplement for allergies. It's and honestly, I probably won't be taking that much longer. I'll make it my own because it's got carrageenan in it. But it's got lavender, peppermint, and lemon, right? So I muscle test. I ask 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going back, forth for 1 was a no, 2 was a no, 3 was a yes. Like that. And so eventually you're going to get to the point where it just pops in, oh, you need 2, right? And then you
Right.
can confirm your message. So do I need to take 2? The answer is yes, right? So um if you are not having a checks and balances, you're not confirming your channels.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that.
Well, it's kind of like you're at work. We're going to go 3D for a moment. So you're at work and your boss says, I need you to input the names and the phone numbers of these 5 people. And you input them and you go, okay, I'm done. But you haven't checked the phone number against the original documentation, right? And you haven't checked the spelling of the name against the original documentation. And so as a result, in my opinion, it's not complete because you haven't done the completion is it have you checked it? Is it good? Right? Is it good against the original request?
Right.
Now, let's bring us into 5D. And in 5D, you're asking, hey, um, is this for my highest good? Great. Yes, it is. Okay. Is there something better for me than this? Yes. Actually, I gotta know. Thank
Sure.
you.
Clean water, you can't beat it.
Right. So if you're not double checking with spirit, like, because just because they're saying it's for your highest good, but is there something better for you other than that particular vitamin D, right?
Right. So that's a good point, right? Because it's kind of like it's about asking good questions that can lead to other things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if you're asking limited questions, you're going to get a yes or no, but maybe you should be asking other questions, right? So you should ask questions that kind of lead you to, is there something better? Should I look at, X, Y, Z, or should I, um, is there another product that would be more beneficial for me?
Right. So there's a program belief system that we are bugging people by asking questions.
Mm,
Um, Erase that, please. Okay. So it's your divine right to make an informed choice about yourself and your body and what you consume. And that is why God came to me and said, um, you need to provide this information to the universe free of charge so that they have the divine, so that they can access the divine and have, because it's your right. So if you're thinking that you can't ask these questions, I'm going to suggest that you think twice. A woman, the one actually who taught me how to use my body as a pendulum, she actually judged me and told me that, because I was asking everything, right? Like I told you, she goes, God doesn't have time for that.
you got all the time in the world.
Yeah. So, like, if somebody tells you something like that or that,
Mm,
say, okay, thank you, walk away and do your own thing.
yeah.
You don't have to listen, you don't have to be mean back. Just say, okay. And I kept on doing it because, and then the other thing this person said to me, so, my husband and I have been together for 5 years. Look, and I was single most of my life. I got married at 58. So I didn't have a lot of practice on relationships. You know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
Or do you? Okay. So I kept on asking, am I fit for it's good to be with this man? I'm like, I don't know what to do. And the woman who I'm talking about said, well, if you have to ask God if it's for your highest good, then you need to walk away. And I thought, no, I don't, because I suck at relationships.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
who am I to be making this decision? He has, I'm getting very dizzy. God has the insight for things that we have no idea. And God forbid I would have left my husband.
Yeah.
Like, God forbid I would have left him when he was my boyfriend or would have left him when I got married because I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah, especially as we get older, right? And if you've been single for a long time, I mean, there's an adjustment that you have to go through. It's not an easy thing, right? If you haven't like been in a lot of relationships when you were young, where it's easier, right? Like because you
Because you
there,
don't know better.
right, you don't know what you
Boundaries and you're people pleasing.
well, you don't know what you don't know, right?
All right, DK,
But
DK zone.
but yeah, I mean, there's habits that we form that aren't always conducive to and ways of thinking
Yeah.
that aren't always conducive to a relationship, and so that does take an adjustment. And good on you that you went to source to keep asking because you wanted to do the right thing, right? You wanted to be sure, but you wanted to do the right thing,
Yeah.
and what was for your highest good and for his, quite frankly, because it's you
Mhm.
know because you're connected, right? I mean, if it's
Yeah.
not for your highest good, it's not going to be for his either.
Right, right. And so Andrew and I are twin flames, and that is a mirror relationship. It's distinctly different from a soulmate, right? Soulmate's easy, twin flame not so much. Okay.
Right? Well,
And so it's a healing and learning relationship. So it
yeah,
only took us, I don't know, 5 years to figure out a new path. Oh, it's so embarrassing. Took us 5 years to figure out a new path to healing, right? So instead of if you're in a twin flame relationship, and I'm actually going to put a banner here so we can maybe do a clip here. So hold on. If you are in, oh, here we go. Here we go. So if you are in a twin flame relationship, know that it is not easy. It is a healing relationship. And if you go the blame and shame route, it will not work and it will not last. You have to look, and I do mean have to. It is a should, it's a have to. I don't use these words usually. I'm using them now, and I'm using them with intention. If you want to save your own sanity, you will look at everything as a lesson. And then you heal the pain that came with that lesson. And Andrew and I, we sit there in front of each other and we hold each other's hearts, you know, in our energetic space, and we heal our pain. Because some of it came from us, like what we did this lifetime, past lifetimes, and some of it came from other people, and I just triggered him so that it can come up, get released to God, and heal it. And then he does that for me. And before we figured it out, we were pissing each other off. And Raj had to listen to all of it. So there you go.
Well, you know, it's a relationship where you're both on a journey, and you're connected in that way, where that journey is intertwined, but it's there for to kind of have you go through the fire, so to speak, right? For
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where that,
Definitely had to go through the fire.
well, that's where the heat and pressure is what makes a diamond, right? I mean, we know that.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
Absolutely.
um, well, and when you have anger in that relationship, you know, get some candles out and breathe the anger into the flame. If you don't have a fireplace, get candles. Any flame will do. Got a lighter? Yeah. Although that might get a little hot on the thumb. Do you want to add anything to that?
Well, going back to the purpose of the video, I would say, practice, practice, practice. Learn how to muscle test. Find something that works for you, that you're
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with. Maybe do two of them, right? Start with I would say start with the body sway test, because I think that's the strongest confirmation for most people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely feel it, that lean back or that lean forward. But then,
Yes.
in addition to that, pick at least one other method that you could practice all day long, like that one finger method, right? So that's an easy one to practice, or even the one where you're just rubbing your fingers, and just keep practicing that and get a feel for it,
Mm-hmm.
because at some point you're not going to want to sit there and stand up and do the lean, sway test for everything you do, because that it's just
Yeah, it's gonna be tough when you're driving too.
right. Well, it's time consuming, and so there's a quick method, and then there's more of a like a surer method. So, like
Mm-hmm.
for the bigger questions, yeah, maybe you do um, the sway test, especially early on. But for like the smaller things, should I take uh, one or two of this or whatever? Maybe use the more subtle one just to get the practice in, right? And then practice makes perfect. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. All right. Well, to get in touch with Raj, so Raj does quantum energy healing, and
Yep.
so do I. His number. You want to share your phone number and your how people can get in touch with you?
So yes, my phone number is 847-754-8555. I can work on people remotely or in person. Um, and then I have a website. I do. It's a link tree. I'm going to be adding more to it in terms of what I'm offering, but it's getthefrequency.com.
Awesome. And thank you. Call me. Same thing. Call or text 847-738-0242. My website is susanessentials.com. If you go to the red free consult button, you can go schedule and schedule a free consult. But if you listen to this show, this is kind of your free consult. You know whether or not you want to do business with us, and you can schedule, and we can do quantum energy healing. We can reverse food sensitivities. Raj is really good at removing pain and blocks. There's a lots of fun, cool things that we can do, and we'll leave the rest of that um, for a quick private chat.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Chime in, say hello. I just love to meet new people, and let us know what uh, what resonates with you, what you like about what we talked about, what maybe you would like to hear more about. So we're open to that. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, like I said, Raj is in Illinois. I'm in Georgia, but we both work remotely. We have clients all over the world, and you know, so don't let your location sway you. You have something you want to add? Go ahead.
yeah, actually, I just want to put in a plug for you. So if you don't know who Jody is, she's an amazing, amazing, amazing healer. She can really tap in. She can tap into your body, figure out where you need clearing. Let's just call it. We'll use general terms, some misalignments, and she is absolutely fantastic at what she does, and she really is tuned in and tapped in. So don't be shy. Reach out, and glad you're here.
So thank you, and back at you, brother. So, so I'm just gonna say this. So Raj has been my spiritual buddy for many, many years now, and when I need guidance, he's my go-to. And so he hears on a level that's undeniable. And it's almost like precision hearing. That's kind of how I would describe you. Precision hearing. And so, like, I may hear something and you're like, yes, but I also hear this, 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 and this, right?
Yeah.
And so, your ability to hear and then clear is something I've seen only with probably a handful of people. And I have seen some people who claim that they can do that. And I've worked with them, and I think I want to say after 30 days I was done because they
Mm,
don't even hold a candle to
yeah.
what you can do. So, we are both very gifted in different ways. So you may want to use Rajai's skill sets for one thing and mine for another, you know, like that.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Love you, brother. All right. So we're gonna sign off and just let's see if I have I have a little here you go.